Ivan Odi, aka Ivan Odhiambo, founder of Caliban Creatives, smallest producer I know.
I go by the name of Steph Capella. I'm an artist. I do hip hop, R&B, and Afrobeat.
You know we ain't about to leave till we leave you with some bars. They be out here calling like your boy don't know how to rap, man.
Yeah. Yo, I really like this beat, yo. Yeah.
I finally get it. My one and only prayer, please don't forget it. I don't want the fame, I just want the credit. That's a damn lie, forget it. God damn it. Careful what you wish for, cause you don't really know what you went for.
I get my hands in a lot of things, and I had a background in music. My parents, when I was young, like they used to have records in the house, and yeah, I grew up in a musical family, so I used to play guitar in church. I used to sing for my high school. I used to be just involved in music activities. And then when I traveled outside, I met this guy who was called my roommate when I went to university was an artist. So I used to play guitar and he used to rap to it. So I just decided to take it to the next level by making digital music. So yeah, I ended up making a studio, and yeah, that's what motivated me.
My music journey actually started like a long time ago. I actually started doing music when I was still in the States for Masomo. And after all that, when I came back is when like I really dove into music and tried to see what I could really do. Ended up having a record deal that didn't work all the way through, but we're blessed. We still kept going and naendelea tu.
It's a tough question, but just to give you the scope, in 2016, I challenged myself to build another studio, because what we had before was, we went through some life. And I wrote a list of artists, and they came to more than 300 at that time. So I can't count how many artists I've worked with here. But if you say bodies of work, maybe I can say less than 10 legitimate bodies of work that went somewhere. Currently, I do. Initially, I didn't, because when you start music, it starts as a passion. The older you grow, you realize that everything you do needs to be, of value to your life. So with a few artists that I work with now, like we take it seriously. We work on distribution, branding, websites, shows, pretty much the whole package, like a record label would.
Well, not necessarily. Thanks to platforms, like DistroKid, CD Baby, TuneCore, whatever. There are methods of distributing your music to like major platforms without having to have like a distribution deal from like a major label or whatever. So for us, the way we work, it works out very well because we distribute our own music basically through like a provided platform called DistroKid, and that way when the returns come, we can split according to venye tumepanga.
We create a brand. Like with every artist, instead of just recording music and being a business where it's a walk-in studio, what we do is every artist I work with, we work on their brand. We work on making sure that themselves, without even the music, they're a product. So that way you can maximize on any opportunity that comes your way. It's involving the brand, therefore it's something that is lucrative financially.
I think it's more of just how I grew up. Like I used to love R&B and I used to love hip hop, like DMX, Ja Rule, 50. Like there was that period when I went through like listening to a lot of hip hop, and then finally, like like I've always been a singer, but Drake happened, and then the entire game changed, and that's when I really started rapping and stuff, like back in 2008.
I have deals with all the artists that I work with. I wouldn't like to say signing, because that has a bad light to it in this industry. Yeah. but I have a deal with every artist I work with.
I write. I've always written. I think I started writing like poetry nikiwa like high school, and then that translated into music. Um, it's not that I wouldn't cover people's songs or like sing something that somebody else has written, but just for the story to be authentic to me, like I always write my own music.
You know, another thing about being copied is, or being stolen from is, I think someone should be flattered instead of offended. Like initially, yeah, you can get offended, but I think when someone steals your project or copies it or something, it shows you that your project is actually worth being stolen. Because there's nothing worse than having something and then no one is even interested in stealing it. Yeah, my music has been copied. I've ever entered a studio and they know my name but they didn't know me, so they told me that this guy is my friend, he gave me this beat and I'm the one who made it, so I'm just listening and I'm like, that's awkward. Because yeah, I've been in a room where someone said they know let's say an artist like Papa Don, some guy, he's an upcoming artist, and you're with the artist and they're telling you that they know that guy. So yeah, these things happen, you know. It's embarrassing, but it's also motivating, because if someone embraces something, it means it's acceptable and it's, you know, yeah. So I try to look at it in a positive way than a negative way, that if someone steals your thing, then you're doing the right thing, because they're trying to steal it, or they're trying to copy it, trying to distribute it, trying to sell it. Perspective differs, you know, like everyone has a perspective, you know, like someone can tell you something is nice because they're your friend, but it's not really nice. Someone can tell you something is bad, but they're envious. But like I always try to keep people around me that I trust. And even if they tell me something is bad, it's because I trust that they want it to be better. So the circle has to be small enough, but also they need to be people who you don't get emotionally offended when they tell you things. Yeah, so definitely we have our circle. It's called Calivan Creatives. There's like 12 members or something. Just random people who have their own things they do, but like we come together as a collective. So everyone there is a critic of themselves and of each other, but we understand each other well. So those are the critics we have around. And then sometimes you can involve like an outsider, like maybe someone who's more experienced. You know, we do listen to people's opinions and, you know, try to pick what we can that we can improve on. What we can't improve on, I mean, it's just water in the ocean. Yeah, definitely the king of piracy in East Africa, I'd say so. Yeah, but depends. There's piracy in Africa. Kenya there is. Yeah, I mean, a simple test would be to ask anyone in this room who has an album that they've bought. You see, because everyone has music in their phones, but how many guys have actually bought music in this room, for example? That just shows you the magnitude. And I don't blame it on everyone, really. I just think that the state of the industry and the state of, you know, affairs of how Kenyans live just forces people to be in a certain, you know, you go to a movie shop where next to where you buy your dinner, there's movies being sold for 50 shillings, and the same movie is being sold internationally for maybe $10 or something. So yeah, that it accelerates piracy. We've made piracy look like something normal in Kenya.
I think there's a cultural kuna like a cultural difference. I think one of the major ones is like just as Africans generally, or as Kenyans, we are of the saving. We have a saving culture. So kuspend do mtu sikianga uchunguke ingine utakani kuingia kwa hiyo mfuko, unajua. So like most people just like they look for the alternative where it costs them the least, which is fine. But if you start thinking about like truly supporting your artist, like your favorite artist, when you start thinking of like, yo, mi nataka kwenda hii show, or I'm buying this CD, or I'm buying this t-shirt or whatever it is, because I want to see this artist that I love so much soar, like keep growing and keep becoming and like represent us in one way or another.
We go into the digital world of internet and the web. I feel like the less pirators can copy content. Because the thing is, if you lock your content by having a certain, let's say, format, like the Apple Music format is completely different from MP3 and all these other easily copyable, like when you get a CD, when you get like someone's CD, you can copy it because it's either WAV, M4A or MP3, but yeah, or MP4. But like when you go to Apple Music, like the format can only be played by iTunes and after you have an account. So I just feel like the more these technological advancements grow, like the more it's gonna be harder for pirators to pirate music. So I feel like the right move is for us just to embrace the digital movement.
Starts with the fans. Number one, it starts with the artist to make sure like you've copywritten all your stuff. Like you make sure that like you've done all the paperwork that you need to protect your music first of all. But then after that, it goes to the fan. I want somebody who loves my music to buy my music, not because like he's making me rich, but because they're enabling the art to continue. They're enabling the music, the industry to grow, like for us to be represented right and to be seen as like we're being represented right. There has to be money involved. There has to be like an exchange. You see what I'm saying? And it costs money. Like if I want to give my fan the best product available, if I want to give him like that music video najua ataiangalia aseme that was something else, like, or that album cover, or like distribution wise natakufikisha ngoma mbali or whatever, then I'm gonna need money to facilitate some of those things. And kusema tu kweli, like there's not enough coming in. So yes, I want our fans out there, and Allah say those guys are just curious. Buy the music because it helps, like it goes a long way in making sure that the art continues. And that's the biggest thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Like statistically, even before we think about the River Road, yeah, let's say you guys do a production like a movie. If you sell hard copies, someone can copy it with a flash disk, right? But these days, most people watch music on YouTube. Like people don't want to download music videos and put them in CDs anymore. Like it's kind of a culture that's fading off. So in the future, we are seeing more of streaming than hard copy music. So with streams, it's hard to, like if you're in Apple Music, you can't copy that music. Even if you copy it, it won't play in anyone's phone until they subscribe to Apple Music because the format is locked. So I'm looking at streaming as the solution to piracy.
Ni mara ngapi napigiwa naambia, ngoma yako inacheza hapa hivi bana, sijaisikia hii ngoma kwa ilitoka lini? Alafu unaekewa speaker unasikia ala hii ngoma ilitoka aje. But yeah, piracy of course it's a normal thing. But I don't know, there's a good and a bad side to it. Like it just depends on how you look at it. Sababu Rosafi, like it also helps get you out there. Like if your song is a hit, even if you're, say for example, you're not like seeing money come in from it, but at least it's popularizing you. It's not a good thing, like Kenyan musicians are not making money from their music because their music is being sold either for cheap or it's being given out for free. But in exchange, I assume, in exchange, especially if you have a good song, in exchange you get a little bit of popularity, of which if you're working with the right kind of people, you can really use that popularity, build a brand around it, and actually make some money from it.
Well, starts with the closest, the friends, like the guys who they listen to music and before you know it's out on someone's Instagram or Facebook. And also lack of knowledge, lack of copywriting your content. People always think that the right time will come until it's too late. Those are the challenges I think everyone faces until you realize that I think it's a hit or miss situation. Like sometimes piracy can be to your advantage, sometimes it can be against what you'd want. I just feel like the right time is when you've done something long enough and it's lucrative and you're getting a better deal. For instance, let's say a streaming platform is giving you exclusive rights to release your music in their platform for, let's say, 2 weeks. If anyone has it besides them, then your deal is off. Yeah, so I feel like that's when piracy can affect someone. It's not affected me, because when I started doing music in a serious way, I completely cut off all those things, like I'm WhatsApping my friend a song to listen to it. I just cut that off, because there's bigger fish to fry.
I like what ule jamaa wa P-Square, nimesahau jina yake, ule alikuwa Coke Studio juzi, Rude Boy. I like what he said in one of the interviews, akiwa Trend, I think. Alisemanga, like, Nigerians actually made a conscious choice. Like, it wasn't just the fans, it wasn't just the government, it wasn't just producers or whatever. They made a conscious choice to play more Nigerian music than foreign music. Like, it was a decision that they made. It wasn't one of those things that organically just happened, like people just started loving whatever. It's the same thing with Tizedi. We have to make a conscious decision, a deliberate, intentional decision to actually play more Kenyan music in clubs, play more Kenyan music in matris, play more Kenyan music on TV, on radio, on like ata YouTube, up or up, everywhere. Like, it has to be a conscious decision from all of us to grow this thing, like this thing we call Kenyan music. Otherwise, I mean, we're all Kenyans. At the end of the day, if we don't actually like focus on our own music and focus on what we're doing, what are the future generations going to have? When I was growing up, we had Isa, we had the Necessary Noise, we had Akina Bamzigi, like we had Akina K-Rap. What are we going to leave for our kids? You see what I'm saying? Like, what are they going to have? What are they going to say if we're not right now? Kama kila mtu tuko Tizedi ama tuko Naija, ushaenda shop, kuna nimeenda kubai maziwa, kapata mtoi hapo hivyo shop, mtoi ako oh mama tetema, na hata unashangaa, unajua kenye kitu inamaanisha, yani like wapi mama yako wewe, unajua. But and I'm like, when us guys were growing up, we were like, tulikuwa why a Kenyan boy make me ask if I be like that's what we grew up on, like when I was a kid, that's what I was singing, but I want to be able to leave something for like the guys who are coming. So play KE, it has to be a conscious decision.
I've always been someone who's trying to embrace production and content in Kenya, like and not only in music. Music is just one like aspect. Like there's advertisements, there's websites, there's movies, there's music videos, there's documentaries, there's interviews. Like, I've always embraced this, and I've always tried to motivate people around me, because I think exposure is the best thing. Like, if people get exposed to other cultures, you'll realize that we are too focused on competing. Like a classroom setup, kuna number 1 na number 2 na number 3. People think that life is about number 1, number 2, number 3. You can be number 1, but number last is well connected. Yeah. Are you getting? You're clever, but you don't have connections, so you're not gonna go anywhere without number last who's connected. Are you getting? So for me, when I look at Play KE, I don't, I always tell guys, like, if you walk with a poster in town like Play KE, you might actually not be helping the situation, because you're telling people don't play Kenyan music. I think we should take action by actually embracing the content than actually complaining that people don't play the content. I was telling some of the artists around me that instead of hashtagging Play KE on Instagram, that's not gonna change anything. You make a connection with whoever you think is blocking you. If you have an enemy, embrace that enemy, and if you have a friend, embrace that friend. Like, if you have a presenter who has a locked mindset, sit with that presenter, have a chat with that presenter, change their mindset if you can. If you can't, get another streaming platform that can distribute your music. Like, I feel like we should work on our relationships more, and work together to put out content, because anything that's good will be liked. Whether you say Play KE or Play Africa or play human music, if your content is good, people will like it. That's what I believe.
I've faced everything. Like the first 5 years of grinding, like doing music, no one paid attention. Not like 5 years deep, I had like 100, like I think I had like 100 views, not even subscribers on YouTube, man. Like, so 5 years deep, unaweza imagine. And I don't know. I things worked out. I got them, like I got a music contract, I got a deal, and then it didn't work out. So you're gonna go through things, man. You're gonna go through a lot of things. Sometimes things can seem so heavy, they can literally feel like they're breaking you. But it's important for you to understand that, like, that's the process. That's the process, and you should embrace it. You shouldn't run away from that feeling of woga. No, you should embrace that challenge kikuja, whatever it is, you know. Mi hakuna kitu kasi do, kasi kutafuta watu wa kuwork na wao, kasi like name it, man. Like mko na show watu watokei, name it. Like nimeperformia bouncer, man, na nikatoka hapo nikampea autograph, iliwaka. But I've been through it all, and you'll go through it, and it's okay. It's part of the process, man. It'll make you richer, it'll make you stronger, and then of course it'll create content for even your music when you're writing. Now, like now when you're writing, my lines I say like, man, I used to rap when nobody listened, but now everybody in the kitchen checking out what I'm whipping. In freestyle. But seriously, like utapitia kila kitu, you'll go through everything, and that's okay. It's okay. It's supposed to be that way.
From my perspective, that people do things for the wrong reasons. Like most of the time people get into a career because maybe you want money or you look cool, or you know, like, but it's never what it seems like in face value. So I always tell guys, like, if you do something, anything you do, just, it sounds cliche, but trust me, I'm a marketer actually. Like, that's my main job. Music is my hobby, but I don't want to waste my time, so I'm trying to make it lucrative. But I'll tell you an example. If you, let's say, how much is a smoky? Smoky is like 25 bob in the streets, right? But if you buy a packet, it's 200 shillings. Imagine if you go and get an apron, a white one, then you get a good table with a metal on top, and you get like a good hat, and you put like, you know, like you brand your, if you look at how guys sell burgers like Taco Bells or something in the States, you'll see how they brand their stuff. You wanna tell me if I give you a smoky with mayonnaise and cheese and a bun and I sell it at 200, you won't buy it? You'll buy it. You see, so I feel like anything you do, if you package it well and you brand it well and you imagine what you'd want and then give it to the public, they'll take it. So don't get into music because it looks cool or because you think you'll get money. You won't get you'll stay even 10 years without getting paid, but you'll only start getting paid when you realize that when you make the best product, when you put yourself in the consumer's shoe and you imagine what they want, is when now you'll make it. Calligraph has been recording music, for instance, for about 14 years. Sauti Sol recorded for more than a decade as well, but they only made it when they gave people what they imagine Kenyans being. Like, you know, if it's Sauti Sol bien with 6 packs, sitting in a chair, dancing nishike, you know, people are talking about it, but maybe it took that for him to make it, you see. So I feel like anything you do, selling smokies, eggs, pancakes, flying planes, being a driver, anything you do, brand yourself well, and don't do it for the money. Do it to literally make a difference, and then people will pay you. You'll even get to a point where you're confused how much to charge. So many guys will be coming to you for your product that you'll actually be waking up and deciding, you know what, 3 guys want to pay me money I've never seen, so let me just put a price that I think no one can afford, and you'll be shocked. Someone will come and pay you $100,000, $1,000 to take one picture. It will happen. Absolutely.